Hi, good evening. So I think we are almost towards the end of the session, and I don't want to bombard with a lot of data over here. I think you have already heard all the eminent speakers. So what I will do in next, let's say, 5 to 7 minutes, that I would like to give you a feel about the whole thing. You know, in English there is a saying that when you read something, you gain the knowledge, but when you experience something, you gain the feel. So my job would be to give you a little feel about it. Huh? Is it okay? Still awake? Huh? Okay, let me start with one question. Can someone tell me about the type of the battery you know? Any battery type? Anyone? A lot of youngsters are also here. Anyone? Lead acid, lithium. Anything else? Okay, let me come to the point straightforwardly. There is something called battery which nature has given to us, and it's nothing but biomass. What is a battery? Battery simply stores the energy and you extract the energy whenever you want to extract it. As simple as it. I mean, we are talking a lot about crude oil versus biomass, let's say. We are importing crude oil. If I go back in time, let's say thousands of years ago, the crude was also biomass. With time, and I repeat, crude was also biomass. With time, under pressure, temperature, this got converted into crude. It's as simple as it. And just to tell you, I used to work for Shell, as Colonel Dev said, in Germany for a long time. And crude also became successful from the finance point of view when each and every component of the crude could be monetized, right from LPG, which is coming from the top, till the bitumen, which is coming from the bottom. Each and everything of the crude got commercialized properly. Now, let's jump to the biomass directly. So when you talk about the biomass, whenever you talk about anything, solid, liquid, gas, if I just burn the biomass, I get energy, but along with energy, I get carbon. If I talk about, let's say, liquid part, let's say biodiesel, along with diesel, I get glycerine. If I talk about biogas per se, so along with biogas, what do we get? We get fertilizer. So basically, when you talk about circular economy and when you talk about nature to nature phenomena, bioenergy itself cannot be replaced by anything. We can talk about thousands of things for the right, in a right manner, for the right intention, but bioenergy is something which is circular in nature by default. So the C part of it, circularity, let's park it for the time being. But you have to keep it in mind that biomass is nothing but a different form of crude, and which you can really grow, which you can really rely on in a very localized fashion. So let's jump to the technology part of it. So the good news is that we have the technology. Whenever we talk about technology, of course, we need to define the whole boundary condition. So in CBG, especially in biogas field, we have press mud, which is an industrial output, which is very easy to digest as such, which is very easy to convert into biogas. I think in one of the lecture you understood that how enzymes, how culture, etc. plays a big role. But nevertheless, I'm not getting into technicalities, as I promise you that I would like to give you more feel about it. So from technology perspective, whatever we develop, personally, I'm a big fan of copying something which nature is doing. Just to give you a feel again, you see how nature purifies water. The sun rays falls on the wastewater. Of course, that's a little different topic, but nevertheless, just to give an analogy, that's a UV radiation, UV treatment. Evaporation happens, then let's say it gets to the ozone layer, ozonization happens, again the condensation happens, when it goes to the aquifer, mineralization happens. So nature has got its own way to really take care of the solution. Same goes in technology for the CBG as well, that if you can copy what a cow is doing, cow is a living biogas. I don't know if you really know, when cow burps, it emits almost 450 liters of biogas, almost 0.45 cubic meter of biogas per day in atmosphere. Of course, this can have a ill effect on atmosphere. I'm not getting into it. But if you can copy a cow, if you can copy how a cow abdomen works, you can really, simply engineer the whole biogas plants, as simple as it. Of course, that's at very high level, but the good news is that in India itself, we have got the whole technological thing available, and fortunately, the teething time is almost over. Of course, more the merrier. When we talk about the biogas, there are two main constraints we talk about. One is the availability of feedstock to us. Normally, a lot of feedstock is available. Let's say I'm right now standing here in Delhi, tons and tons of kitchen waste is available. But is it available to me? That too, for the right price, within the right time frame, in the right quality and quantity? Well, it's a $1 million question we need to see. So that's the problem number one. And this is where the experts like Colonel Deo, etc., they come in picture and they talk about something called biogas assessment. And then the second challenge which we see right now in this biogas field is this sale of the fertilizer part. And this is a very tricky part, when you talk about the fertilizer. So this is where I try to jump from the technical bucket to the social bucket. Fertilizer always is a demand-driven thing. I repeat, it's a demand-driven thing. I can't just go and sell fertilizer in bulk. But what I can sell is, and especially after Corona, it becomes even easier to sell, it's the organic cropping. So if I can't sell the fertilizer, perhaps I can do the contract farming and convert this organic fertilizer into organic cropping and then sell that. Of course, these are business models which we need to really look into. This is where I come to the financial bucket. So again, a long story short, we need to look at financial bucket, technical bucket, and very important, the social bucket, if you talk about the whole value chain of bioenergy, and that too biogas I'm specifically talking about. So this is where, we parked C, I come to I part, inclusive part. So the social part becomes very, very important when you really want to have the smooth supply chain, a smooth feedstock supply. So you can pay and buy, but it really doesn't work in biomass field. People can increase the price of the feedstock and then everything goes for a toss. We need to really see, maybe you can develop something based on symbiotic model, like in a cooperative model. So that's the I part of it. I think the third part, which is very important for me personally, is the D part, decentralized part. And I think more and more we are becoming aware of it because of the geopolitical issue, what is going on in the world. We need to be energy rich, we need to be energy sufficient, and I think biomass plays a big role. Of course, I'm not denying about solar or wind. Of course, over there you talk about the electron and you can just put it in the grid. Here we are talking about the molecule, which you can also put it in the grid, but in the gas grid, I know that all over the world people talk about everything in power terms, which is okay. Perhaps here we can talk in power equivalent term, that this much of megawatt, thermal megawatt power equivalent we can generate. But nevertheless, don't get confused with all this kind of different wordings, but the D part of it. So if you have not understood anything, but still if you want to take away something from this, from my lecture, that make sure that you need to be a part of nature, not apart from it. Thank you. Thanks a lot.